Final segment, Jerry Lawler's in the ring to host and welcomes Tyson Fury, and Vic Joseph is very excited, noting the wild and off-the-cuff antics that Tyson has displayed during his entire career, and now he's got an open mic. Strowman comes out, and there's a chant of "get these hands." He says he was messing around on SmackDown until he saw the way that Fury looked at him like he wanted a piece, and he gave him a present with Dolph Ziggler, and he wanted security to let Fury go. And Braun says, "I will literally eat you for lunch." Fury comes back and says that he would have knocked Braun out, and Strowman says, "You would have been on your back and not for some slow 10 count like the last time you fought Deontay Wilder."
Ooh.
Which the two had their draw last December at the Staples Center, coincidentally enough.
Wait a second, so that was a draw?
Yeah, they had a draw.
And I guess it was disputed?
Yeah, there was, a fair amount that thought Wilder won, but it was officially a draw.
Got it. Okay.
And they're probably going to have a rematch in February. Then they just start fighting, and it's the classic scene. Security gets involved. The place is going pretty nuts at the beginning of this. Fury breaks free, all the standard brawl spots that typically get over. Fury's punching away at all the security members, so Braun destroys his security that's holding him back. So then the locker room has to empty to separate them. Fury wants to fight. They keep being separated until Braun leaves with his music playing. He's interviewed by Charlie backstage, calls Fury a tough son of a bitch, but he's going to get these hands, and he doesn't play that crap, with Fury coming into his house, and then storms back down to the ring, and they're being separated as the show ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they always do a pretty good job with these pull-aparts. This one, to me, though, I couldn't help but feel like it was very cliched. Like they were almost running through a program or like a beat-for-beat parody of like Tyson and Austin.
It lacked the intensity of when these are done super effectively, and I would put Austin Tyson very high on that list. Like, that was tremendous. This, to me, it went on too long, and there wasn't a progression in it. It was just, okay, we're going to separate, then we're going to be held back, and there was no escalation, and it just felt awkward by the end of it. Yeah. And I think by the end of it, I think people were generally, like, they seemed into this for the most part, and I think are intrigued to see the match, but to me, this wasn't an overwhelming success either.
I think it's, especially if you're there live, just to see like the visual of like a mass of people trying to hold somebody back, and then like that is really easy to get behind, no matter who it is. I don't know if it necessarily translates to people watching at home to the point where I think after this, you might want to see Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury in some type of mock boxing match or a pro wrestling match in Saudi Arabia. I really don't know. And I wonder if it's due to like the rush nature of this feud. There is no real reason why these two have beef with each other. It's a really stupid reason. They were making faces and Braun threw Dolph Ziggler into him. It's simply not a good enough personal reason. And look at the difference on that show with Kane. Kane here, you have a real connection to Brock Lesnar's past. It's believable. He beat Brock Lesnar for the belt. And this, to me, instead just felt like, a rushed attempt at celebrity integration, which in the end, it doesn't even matter whether or not people want to see it because they're going to get paid to do this match either way.
I'll say I thought Braun did a good job in the role he was in. I think everyone's going to compare it to Austin Tyson, which was, it was a tough bar for them to clear here. I will say, Tyson Fury throwing work punches, I mean, he was very much not trying to hurt these people, and I'm sure they appreciated that.
Oh, God, I wouldn't trust I wouldn't trust a heavyweight boxer to throw work punches.
On live TV when you're like, could be who knows? It was anyway, they didn't announce when the match is taking place. I think everyone is of the belief this is happening at Crown Jewel. That's to me the only thing that makes sense. And I would imagine they probably What do you think? Do they make this announcement on SmackDown? Do they just make it during the week? Because
they got time. Yeah,
they got 3 weeks.
Not SmackDown the next Monday, but it's probably going to come pretty soon.
I could see them just making the announcement on their own, like during the week.
Sure, why not?
Goes out there.
I'm curious to know, like, especially if you're, because I'm not much of a boxing fan. I only know of Tyson Fury by reputation and by name. I mean, is this a big deal to you? Because I don't know if they really did a great job of conveying why I should care about Tyson Fury. Again, I think Kane has the past connection with Brock that I think is easier to get behind. Have they done a good enough job with Tyson?
I think that this match will get a good amount of interest from the boxing media in the US and Canada. I don't see it penetrating into a mainstream story outside of like some select outlets. What I'm most curious about is how big is this to fans in the UK, where Tyson Fury is a much bigger star, and is this, WWE is fairly popular there as well. So those two worlds coming together, is that a part of the world that this is going to resonate that much more than here in the US or Canada?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to hear from you.
All right, so that was Raw. It kind of all hinged on the final angle, and I don't think it wasn't a home run, but it also wasn't a strikeout. I would say it was maybe a single and reaching for second base.
I thought the closing angle did its intended job of, making a big commotion out of this match. It's kind of tried and true, but with diminishing returns, and maybe we're at the point now where these pull aparts are like done so much that they've kind of lost their effect on me. But nonetheless, like it created a big visual, so people are at least aware of the program. Beyond that, I thought this was a total lame duck show ahead of the draft. A bunch of matches that really, like, especially comparing to the output that you had last week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Like, this match, or this episode of Raw feels like it was really lacking in importance.
Well, you have to wonder how much they were also handicapped if Bray was not available for whatever they had planned, and then opted not to use Seth on this show. Roman Reigns was at a San Francisco 49ers game, so he wasn't even in Bakersfield on Monday night. Sasha wasn't cleared tonight. I mean, you have to wonder what cards were they missing from the deck that they got to play on Monday night as well. Because I agree with you. It was a lot. Like, we got some long matches on this show that seemed to just eat up a lot of time. And my final thing on the closing angle is my opinion of that will change depending. If this gets a lot of coverage on Tuesday, then ultimately it worked. So that's a factor as well, to see, does this really resonate? Because going back once again to the Austin Tyson, I remember the next day being driving home from school, and the sportscast came on and they recapped the angle from the night before. And it was mind-blowing to me in 1998 to hear the radio recapping Raw from the night before and Tyson and Austin getting into it. I was like, wow, this was like a really big thing.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting that level of coverage. I mean,
no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, if it gets
right
more than just your typical
wrestling news sites,
wrestling, and to a degree, like some boxing sites that obviously will cover this stuff. But if it gets some like real focus, then who knows?
Perhaps, yeah.
And this is also an interesting test to see, like, the Fox machine, like, really pushing this Kane and Tyson Fury involvement of, the value of Fox, like, pushing this stuff on all their properties and having their talking head shows discussing these topics and inserting stuff like this into their own sports news cycle.
It's going to be a weird, bizarre relationship, I feel.